You know what really surprised me this week? I know way more Spanish than I thought I did. As it turns out, thousands of words in Spanish are the same in English, or at least close to being the same. And learning just a few simple rules opened up a whole new world of vocabulary for me. Hi, I'm Liz. I'm 57 and I'm documenting my journey to fluency in Spanish 1 week at a time. If you're learning a new language, or maybe you're just curious to see what it's like to learn a new language, hit that subscribe button and follow along. We're going to have some fun. This year, at long last, I've decided to tackle something that I've been wanting to do for decades, and that's to learn to speak Spanish. I understand some Spanish and have had quite a bit of exposure to Spanish over the years, but learning to speak the language has been completely elusive to me. So this year, I'm going to change that, and I am on my way to fluency. Spanish isn't just a language to me. It's a part of my culture, and it's a part of my family's story. It's something that I'd love to be able to pass on to my grandson. And now that I've shifted to part-time work, it's leaving some space for me to do some things that are really important to me, things that are meaningful. And this is really meaningful. I feel like it's an opportunity for me to reclaim a piece of my family's history. As I thought about how I wanted to go about becoming fluent in Spanish, a lot of things crossed my mind, and I did a lot of research. And so what I decided was that I was going to look for the most budget-friendly, meaning free and almost free, path to fluency that I could find. And so I've done a lot of homework and done a lot of research on different platforms, and I think that it will be completely possible to do that, and an awful lot of fun too, to discover all of the different platforms and tools that are available. I'll definitely be using a variety of different platforms, tools, and methods, because I think that's probably how I'm going to find the most success, by exposing myself to lots of different things. So to start with, the first thing that I landed on was language transfer. I'm going to put some more information in the description for you about language transfer, but they have a website and they also have a YouTube channel, which I've been using. And language transfer is a self-directed course that uses the thinking method. The thinking method focuses on building an understanding of how the language works through guided questions and prompts. And through this guidance, you basically figure out how to figure things out on your own as it relates to the language. Once you understand the structure of a language and how it works, it becomes a whole lot easier to kind of figure things out as you go. It's an active learning style, and I really like that because it helps to keep you engaged. There's nothing worse than getting bored and staring off into space as you're listening to a lesson, and then you comprehend none of it. So I really like that this is an active learning style that requires you to participate as well as listen. The instructor, and forgive me, I know I'm going to butcher this name, but I'm going to try. Mihalis Eleftheriou? I don't know. My apologies, Mihalis, because I know I've just butchered your name, but I wanted to make sure to give you credit in this video for the good work that you've done. At any rate, Mihalis has a volunteer student in his audio recordings. And I think that really helps, because it helps you to feel like you're learning alongside someone rather than just trying to take in an audio recording of some kind. As Mihalis guides his volunteer student through the lessons, you have the opportunity to participate. Basically, when he prompts his student to do something, you pause the video, you do the same, and when you're through, you go back to the video to see how you did and to get some more explanation about what you're learning. Now, don't skip this part. I think it's very tempting to just put the audio on and let it play and listen through and think that you're going to comprehend. But the active part of the learning process is really important. So do pause the video and do the prompts and respond the way he's asking his student in the audio recording to respond as well. I think this is such an important part of the process and hope that you won't skip it. One thing that Mihalis often says is, think slowly to learn quickly. So take your time to really ingest what he's teaching here and to participate in the process as well. Another thing I really like about language transfer is no notes. You are encouraged not to take notes, which is far different than any class or course that I've taken before. You know, you're always scribbling down all of the things that you want to remember to make sure that you can lock them in your brain. Well, this is a different way of learning, and this encourages you to apply what you're learning as you go and really start to build some memory of those just by practicing. And I like that an awful lot. I also love that there are no long lists of vocabulary and no long studying sessions that you need to do to try to memorize things, because that's not how the process works. The thinking process basically says, come on in, jump in, the water's fine. And it is. It's one that I am thoroughly enjoying. I think it's an awful lot of fun. That's not to say that language transfer is the only thing that I'll use, though. I'm actually layering in some other things that can help with my comprehension. To supplement what I'm doing on language transfer, I have found a couple of other platforms that I'm using to help me with comprehension. The first one is Dreaming Spanish, and the other one is Listen ES. Both of those are fantastic, and I'm going to do some review videos on each of them because I love them that much. They have helped to bring my comprehension to a whole new level. So coupled with language transfer, it's a winning situation for me so far, and my progression has been more than I expected. I have a big list of other websites and tools and apps and such that I'm going to use in my journey to fluency, but if you have any that you'd like to suggest, put those in the comments below because I'd really love to check them out. Overall, I'd say my first week on my journey to fluency has been fantastic. I'm really enjoying the process. I am very excited every day to learn something new, and I'm finding it, I guess, easier than I thought it would be to get my brain to start making that switch to thinking in Spanish rather than always thinking in English. And that's a big deal for me. If you watch the first video of this series, you know that was the thing I'm worried about the most. And still, I'm not there. But I feel like I'm making progress, and I feel like my comprehension is far beyond what I thought it would be after 1 week in this process. I think the thing that's been clicking the most is the immersion. That really has taken things to a different level. In the past, when I've tried to learn to speak Spanish, I really didn't have the tools of immersion. It really was more about learning vocabulary and learning a couple of sentences and quick things that you can learn, and things that are geared to a very beginner Spanish speaker. And I've had enough exposure where I think where I really needed to be was in the conversation mode and learning to really comprehend and understand. I just never found access to the right kinds of tools. And the tools I'm using now are designed for people just like me who maybe can't comprehend at a normal pace what Spanish speakers are saying, but who can absolutely comprehend if that speech is slowed down a bit and there's a little more care taken to pronounce each word individually. So I'm finding it very productive and an awful lot of fun and very exciting because I feel like I'm going to finally be able to do something that I've dreamt about doing for a long time. I have the confidence that it will happen. even though it's been a lot of fun and I am very, very excited, that's not to say that I didn't have my challenges in this last week too. Obviously, the getting myself to think in Spanish rather than thinking in English is a daily challenge and something I think will take some time to get to the point where my brain can make that switch on its own. But that's okay. That's not too discouraging to me. Maybe in the moment sometimes, but overall, I know that I'll get there. It's just a process. But the other thing that I struggle a little bit with is not wanting to sound silly, and my perfectionism kind of gets in the way. I was at a store during this last week. I went and did some shopping, and when I went to the checkout, the cashier, who also was Hispanic, she looked at me and thought, surely this woman speaks Spanish, and so she started speaking to me, and I understood a lot of what she was saying, and I had every desire to respond to her in Spanish, but I didn't, and I was so frustrated with myself. I kind of froze in the moment, and I left. She switched to speaking English to me because I wasn't responding in Spanish, and she realized I wasn't a Spanish speaker. But I left the store a little bit deflated because I could have jumped in there and muddled my way through a conversation and gotten so much benefit from that. And I am certain she would have been so happy to help me to do that, but I froze and I didn't do it. So that's a lesson. That's something I'm going to work on. I'm going to make sure that I try to engage more with people who I can see speak Spanish. I'm going to ask them to speak to me in Spanish, and I'm going to try really hard to respond and be open to their criticism and not worry so much about how I sound, because let's face it, when you're learning something new, it's not going to be perfect. You are going to have fumbles and you are going to sound silly, but it's okay. We're all there at one point, right? If we're learning a new language. So that was a big lesson for me and something that I will work on moving forward. And the other thing that surprised me a little bit this week was some of the emotions that I felt. Going through this process is making me feel so much more connected to my mom and my grandmother, and they are no longer with us. They've been gone many years. I miss them every single day, and learning to speak the language that they spoke has made me feel a lot closer to them, but it's also made me miss them a whole lot this week. So that was another surprising thing that I didn't expect to experience. So looking forward into week 2, I think I'll probably stay with the same process that I have now. It's working, and so I don't want to upset the apple cart, but I will also be looking at several new tools to maybe layer in with what I'm doing now. And so look for those. I'll tell you what those are next week, and I'll probably do videos on them as well. I'm trying to do as many review videos as I can on the tools that I'm using, because hopefully those will be helpful to somebody else too. I know that the other videos I've taken in as I've been researching have been so helpful to me, and so maybe my experience will be helpful to somebody else too. So there you have it. Week 1 is in the books and it was a success. So I am very happy with that. Looking forward to week 2 and looking forward to bringing you another video next week so you can learn about my progress and what I've been doing. So are you learning a new language? Tell me which one in the comments below. I'd love to check out your videos and see what you're up to. But if you'd like to come along for the journey, make sure you subscribe, like, share this with somebody else who might enjoy it, and we will see you next time.